Hi there, this is Rebecca, and I am back with you today with another video on the dark night of the soul. I am the founder of Vibe Mentor, and I am here to help you raise your vibration so that you can live your best life. So, today, talking about the dark night of the soul, I am going to share with you my experience and my perspective and some tips and tricks on how you can make that serve you and facilitate a new beginning so that you can live your best life. So it's been said that the dark night of the soul is a soul depression or a soul detox. The term was coined by St. John in a poem many, many years ago. So from my perspective, there was a catalyst, an event in my life that spawned what I would call a spiral into a very deep depression. I found myself very much feeling hopeless and lost. I was lonely, didn't really find joy in the things that used to make me happy. I was living a hermit life, if you will, going to work, but then just going back home and self medicating. And I wasn't even aware that I was depressed at the time until a friend of mine, I actually surprisingly have quite a few friends who are psychologists, and she mentioned that I might want to see someone about it. I certainly had anxiety as well. I recall saying to the therapist, the thing that was most baffling to me was that I was living in my head. I just felt like I was constantly in my thoughts and not living my life. My life was no longer fulfilling. Everything felt empty, just kind of all felt pointless. And I could not understand why, after having lived as a good person, or I thought I was a good person, all these bad things kept happening to me, and why, my relationship had fallen apart, and I was a single parent now, and I just was very much mistreated. There was narcissism, so there was a lot of self-doubt and insecurity and self-worth issues, and so I just really struggled with, why wasn't I treated right, and what did I do wrong, and why did he leave me for another woman, and all these things. And it was interesting how after some time, very much in seclusion, more so mentally than physically, I started to sort of see through my reality as if it was not what I had always thought it was. The term "seeing through the veil" has been used, where it felt that the things that were supposed to make me happy were not going to make me happy. I had a really good job. I was making decent money. I had on the outside most of the things other than the relationship that would be considered successful or things that would make you happy. So it really just started to stand out to me that I wasn't going to find fulfillment through the things that I thought I was. I wasn't going to find purpose in my job. And so after meeting with the psychologist and reading the book A Peaceful Mind, which I highly recommend, I will link in the notes below, I really started to understand what was happening in my head. I was living very unconsciously, almost on autopilot. And we have thousands of thoughts a day, and 90% of them are repetitive. And so to continue to have these thoughts that were very much in the past, regret for the past, or in the future and worry for the future, these automatic thought patterns were just continuing day in and day out. And what I began to realize over time, and it took many years for me to come to this place, and hopefully this video will help that process be a little faster for you. But what I realized is those thoughts were inauthentic. I was detaching and separating from my true self. And so that is why the soul is depressed, is because the life that you're living, the thoughts that you're having, the vibration that you're creating are all out of alignment. It's out of integrity with your true self. So your soul needs you to express your true self and needs you to live in alignment with who you truly are, in authenticity. And so if you're, in a marriage trying to hide the fact that you believe in energy, or You're in a marriage where you're being asked to sacrifice your genuine core needs. If you're in a relationship that does not respect boundaries, if you're in a soul-sucking job that makes you feel drained at the end of every single day, any one of those things would be enough. And then if you combine them like I had experienced, it's just, there's an aching inside yourself, just begging for someone to notice, for you to notice, for, in your inside, in your internal world, to notice this isn't right for me, and to poke and prod you to get to a place where you're willing to do something about it. And that's, from my perspective, the purpose of the dark night of the soul, is to really shake you and wake you up and say, this is not working. We've got to make a change. And what I found over time was, no matter how much I wanted to protect my relationship and give my children a whole family, I was not able to deny my needs, that my soul was going to scream at me until I was willing to listen and do something about what was not right. I've learned over time that if I am inauthentic, if I am detached from my true nature, if I am not maintaining the integrity and listening to my intuition, that I will be unhappy. And there's just no two ways around that. No matter how much I want to self-sacrifice, or how much I want to people please, or how much I want to live the life that our culture says is good, it's really, it just looks good. No matter how much I try to do it, it's just not going to work. So some people are born with that ability. I was not, and that unfortunately caused a sense of being out of place, or a sense of not being where I belong. And that can make people feel crazy sometimes, especially when you go through this dark night of the soul and you start to realize that our society's standards are not going to meet your needs. You're going to have to go outside the box. You're going to have to look a little bit different. And that can make people feel crazy sometimes. And I'm here to say, you are not crazy. You are not, especially if you're feeling like you're in the dark night of the soul right now, this will not last forever. I promise you, this is temporary. If you've found this video, you are in the right place, and this is the beginning of the improvement. It's going to get better from here on out. I just want to reach out and give you a hug and tell you, you are so deeply loved, that your soul, your higher self, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, has loved you enough to push you to this place to say, I need you to wake up. And it is the waking up that's going to make things feel better. It's going to be uncomfortable in a different way, because you're going to have to do things different than other people do. But I promise you, it's going to relieve that despair and that feeling of life is pointless. Because there is a point. Life is amazingly beautiful. And when you can start to live in alignment and in integrity with who you truly are and what you truly need, you listen to that intuitive voice and you take the proper divinely guided action, you will start to feel the relief. That divinely guided action is these videos. And so that's how I can say to you, I know there's relief, because I'm living it. Some other remedies, tips, and tricks. I'm checking my notes here on my left, so I just don't want to miss out anything. First and foremost, embrace the period of quiet. Embrace the hermit mode. Embrace the lull, if you will, of energy, both inside of you and around you. Some of us are not always able to take the time needed to completely detach. But if you're, going to work, allow yourself that quiet time at night, the alone time on the weekends, whatever it is. Know that that is a place of healing, and that quietness, the stillness, is what is needed so that you can hear your soul's guidance. You can hear what your soul is asking for, and that's going to help pull you out of the depression and the sadness and the loneliness and the despair, if you will. Self-healing, self-care is going to be probably the next most critical component. Make sure that you are making time for yourself. Make sure that you're honoring your needs. If you need alone time, get alone time. If you need socialization, a lot of extroverts need that interaction, and that's what's going to feed your soul. So make sure that you're feeding your soul, you're taking care of your body, you're watching your mind. I'll get into that in the monitoring thoughts in just a second. But if you're feeling like your nervous system is fried, I highly, highly recommend searching. There are exercises, searching YouTube for the exercises that can help calm your nervous system. I'll link to some of that below as well. But trauma can be very tiring for the body and exhausting for the adrenals, and so it's important to do simple little exercises. I mean, some of them are as simple as just looking around the room, right? So you check your environment, and that actually sends the signal to your body, I am safe. And that speaks to the reptilian part of the brain, the brain stem. That is the oldest part of the brain that is used to running from lions, out in the wild. So what do you do when you enter a new place? You check at the perimeter to make sure that everything is safe. And so it's kind of using some hacks to send the system the right message that everything is safe and calm. Monitoring your thoughts is going to be one of the next biggest things. I would say this is the first thing that came to me that really made a big difference, was getting to know what was going on in my head and not allowing it to happen automatically, but monitoring it, knowing what you're thinking, and questioning it, whether or not it's true. So if you're like I was in the recovery of a very toxic narcissistic relationship, I would have a lot of thoughts about what's wrong with me, what did I do wrong, what could have I done differently, and I would say that track and some variation of it ran in my brain all day, all night, every day, and I had no idea. And I couldn't figure out why I felt so crappy. So I've said it before, and I've done a whole other video on monitoring thoughts, so I'll link that as well. But questioning those thoughts, because there is nothing wrong with me or with you. You are made just as you needed to be made, and you are here for a certain purpose, and who you are is going to facilitate that purpose. And if you don't jive with someone, if a relationship doesn't work out, it's because it's not meant for you, and you're meant to be somewhere else. And there is someone who is made for you. There is a situation, a job, a person, a relationship, a family, whatever it is that you're struggling with, there is something for you out there, and it just hasn't come yet because you need to do this work. And when you do the work, the pieces will start to fall into place. So watch the thoughts. Any negative thought that feels bad is going to cause restriction in the body. It's going to feel like crap. You're going to tense up, and you're going to start to spiral into that rabbit hole of catastrophizing, or you could, or you might. I'm not going to say you will, but if you notice any of that happening, that's your signal, your road sign that you are on the wrong path, that thought is not true, and that it needs to be corrected. So then that would lead to core beliefs and whether or not your beliefs are accurate. So yeah, core beliefs will be the foundation of your thoughts. You need to manage those core beliefs and recognize that if you have a thought that there's something wrong with me or I'm a broken person, then that's a core belief that needs to be changed. And so we need to identify all of our core beliefs, identify which ones are negative and which ones are positive, and find replacement core beliefs for the negative ones. Removing what no longer serves you is going to be a longer term process, but again, very, very important, because there are likely situations in your life that are causing your soul to feel like you're not in the right place, whether it's your job or your relationship, your finances, your health. All of those things will be contributing factors if they are not truly serving you. So if they're not benefiting you and they're not making you feel good during the day or during the night, or you don't feel like they are making you better, they're making you worse, that's going to be your key component to notice. And so make a plan. to remove those things from your life. And that, again, like I said, can be a long-term process, but you're not going to find peace until you do. I would say some other pretty standard stuff that pretty much everybody knows but has to be mentioned: food, exercise, and water. I highly recommend yoga. I will be doing some yoga videos in the future. Yoga is very good for calming the nervous system, relieving depression and anxiety. The term yoga actually means to unite, so to unite the body, mind, and soul. And so I highly, highly recommend yoga. It's a very easy workout, if you will. I personally find that I have to supplement my yoga with other exercise because yoga is not quite strenuous enough. But if you just start with yoga, that's going to make a huge difference. Drinking lots of water is very, very critical. You can feel depression or anxiety if you're dehydrated. So to make sure that that is not a component, we have to drink a lot of water. I've also mentioned that we are electromagnetic beings. Water is a conductor of electricity. If our energy is not flowing, we will feel stagnant, and that obviously can cause depression and anxiety. Eating whole living foods. I like to call them God foods. We talk to my kids, that's what we call them. So if it's grown by Mother Earth and it's whole, that's going to be something that's going to help you come out of the dark night of the soul. I always recommend fruit first, then vegetables. Fruit has a lot of water in it, so again, that goes back to the hydration. Fruit is very easy to digest, and so that can help relieve some of the energy needed in digestion to contribute to your healing and increasing your health. Make a vision board. Figure out what turns you on, what really raises your vibration. For me, it was music and yoga and learning. I love learning and reading books. So I needed more of those things in my life. I'm also very driven by peace and calm and quiet and stillness, and having a corporate life-sucking job was not doing it for me. Helping other people really excites me. So I needed to incorporate a lot more of those things into my life. And that has really made a big, big difference. So a vision board can help you kind of sort through what you want and what you don't want. Start small. You can use a Pinterest board, but I very much recommend a physical vision board, something that you can see in your house. You walk by it every day, all the time. It really helps to tell the brain what to look for. So there's the reticular activating system that, if you'll find if you are searching for a new car, because you've told the brain to look for that car, you're going to start to see that car literally everywhere you go. And so that's how our brains work. We need to tell it what to look for, and then our brain will go to work and start figuring out how to find it. And in that same vein, you are setting up a goal or a plan for your life. You're establishing where you want to be. And so we fully understand when we look at what's no longer serving us, what needs to go away, where we are today, and then we're telling our brain what to look for and how to get to where we want to be. I very much encourage you to study yourself, understand your astrological signs, understand your personality type. There's hundreds of different personality type tests out there. Most of them are free online. Get to know your personality, what your core needs are, what your gifts are, and understand that those gifts are given to you to contribute and to serve, to create the greater whole in some way. It doesn't have to be self-sacrificing. It doesn't have to be, a missionary abroad necessarily. Just creating joy in your own life and meeting your needs raises your vibration, which contributes to the greater whole. That being said, there most likely is a way that you could be of service and contribute your gifts outside of just creating your own joy. And that's, again, a longer term process that'll take some time. Go easy on yourself. That's probably one of the biggest things throughout the dark night of the soul is go easy on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Imagine yourself being the parent of your inner child. Imagine that little girl inside of you or that little boy inside of you and how much they need a hug and how you would speak to them if they were asking for help. So don't beat yourself up. Don't criticize yourself. No judgment, no guilt, no shame. Those are not beneficial and they will only bring you down. So don't go there. Meditation, an obvious must have. Start small, use free guided YouTube meditations if you need to, or just start with 5 minutes and your favorite music. Whatever you need to do to sit in stillness and have that calm, I recommend at least 3 times a day. 5 minutes, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you could do something like that, that would be a great start in getting to a broader practice. And then journaling, or whatever type of outlet you enjoy for getting the emotions out. It's very important to either speak to someone or to journal or to write yourself a letter, to really fully flush out what's inside of you and what's driving this yearning for change. Again, I will just say that as you start to explore some of these remedies, you may start to feel different than others. Some people say, I felt crazy. I felt crazy. I remember when I found a woman who was helping, and she speaks to trees. And I literally said a prayer like, "Dear God, please don't let me go crazy," because these seem like crazy things, because this is not the world that we live in. And it's almost as if you start to live in a world that doesn't quite exist yet. When you have a spiritual awakening, when your soul starts to speak to you, you start to listen to intuition, you start to understand energy. It's different. It's not the world that we live in today, and to live in a world that doesn't quite exist yet feels like you might be a little crazy. And that's okay to have that feeling, as long as you know that you're not alone, you're not crazy, and this is actually the best thing that's ever happened to you. And there are more people waking up now than ever, and we are moving towards that trajectory. So actually, you're just a pioneer in this new world that we are creating. So don't feel crazy. Trust your intuition and know that we are creating a new and better way of life, not only for us, but for our children, for future generations. You're just waking up. You're just waking up from an automatic life, and you're waking up to who you truly are, to listening to what you need instead of doing what you should. Don't should all over yourself. That's one of the worst things you can do. So there is no perfect path out there. There is no prescribed best life formula, because we are all unique. We are all different. We are all given different gifts and strengths with the intention of contributing to each other so that we can create amazing and beautiful things. And to measure yourself to someone else and say, I should be doing this or I should be doing that, is what's going to create more of the darkness inside of you that's haunting you. I have a tool that can help you learn more about yourself. I'm very much into astrology, so I'm willing to help there as well. There's plenty of free resources online, so please start the journey of understanding who you are and what your soul needs, so that you can be relieved of either potentially experiencing the dark night of soul or coming out of it if you are there. So so much love for you guys. I really love to be of service and want to help in any way I can. So feel free to reach out, Rebecca@vibementor.com, or you can just go to vibementor.com and connect with me through the contact form there. So I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Take care.